Hello my friends and welcome to In Defense Of, where I make my case for things in the gaming world, popular or not, that I feel get a bit of a bad rap. Today we're going to talk about Super Mario Sunshine. While critically acclaimed upon release, recent years have been less kind to it, so I'd like to wash off some of the weird, painty mud goop stuff and reveal the shine underneath. I feel like it's impossible to get into a conversation about 3D Marios without about 50 people jumping in just to remind me that Sunshine is garbage, and usually that I smell. First of all, you smell! You smell! But more importantly, I will absolutely admit that this is by no means a perfect game. Far from it, in fact. It's surprisingly glitchy and unpolished for a Nintendo game, and the controls can be kinda wonky. And between the blue coins and the constantly repeated goals in each level, it's obvious that the game was rushed and its shine count lazily inflated. Worst of all, a lot of the shines are just tedious to get. There's a lot of not fun and even frustrating stuff the game wants you to do, including long sequences where one slip-up forces you to start all over. Which is really the same problem Super Mario 64 has, though everyone still hails that game as a masterpiece, which I don't really get, but let's not get into that right now. Basically, in Sunshine, traditional Mario platforming often takes a backseat to just kinda whatever random task the designers thought up. Here's my thing though. Most of what I feel about this game's divisive nature can be summed up in one sentence. Different strokes for different folks. I know, it's weird, right? Different people liking different stuff? Ridiculous. No, I'm not gonna just tell you that you hate the game and I like it just because we're different and, leave it at that, because it goes deeper than that. It really comes down to what we each want from our video games. Simply what kinds of things we like to do in them, what specific aspects of them we enjoy most. I'll never deny that Mario in its purest form is jumping on stuff and getting from the start of the level to the end. It's about platforming pure and simple. That's why I can perfectly understand the hate for a game like Sunshine. It deviates from that simple formula a lot, and adds a bunch of stuff that isn't necessary for a game to be a Mario game. But that extra stuff, depending on your tastes, can be what makes Sunshine awesome. So let me explain why to me it's more engaging in certain ways than the other 3D Marios. First off, Sunshine was the second and essentially last game to employ 64's concept of big hub world with portals leading to individual levels, each with several stars/shines to get. Galaxy 1 had a sort of similar hub world, but the levels were broken up and it was smaller and there wasn't much to do in it. Not the same thing in my opinion. The more open format of Sunshine versus later 3D Marios is extremely attractive to me. Opening up new locations and taking things more or less in the order of your choosing is just so satisfying, and going back to using world maps has always felt really cheap to me. Plus, Isle Delfino is just so interesting. It's a city with all this stuff to do and see and find. It just feels great to traverse, and it was a great follow-up to the mysterious, lonely halls of Peach's castle. Next, and perhaps most obviously, in Sunshine, you've got the FLUDD at your disposal. Lot of opposing opinions on that little device. The biggest gripe is that it removes the edge from the platforming and makes the game too easy, mainly by allowing Mario to glide. That is not a point I can argue. It does make platforming a heck of a lot easier. Thing is though, I don't care one bit. Much like Mario's spin in Galaxy, gliding allows for more complex platforming design and reduces the number of frustrating restarts. But mostly, I adore the variety the FLUDD adds to the game. Compared to 64, Sunshine's controls are so snappy and fun, and throwing in the different FLUDD abilities makes controlling Mario just so much better. It's just more than regular Mario. I can't tell you how much time I've spent in the city, just screwing around, sliding super fast, and jumping around buildings, and blasting all over the place. Then there's the fact that acquiring new FLUDD abilities opens up new secrets, and as you might already know, item and/or ability-based progression is vitamins for Arlos. And speaking of variety, that's another thing Sunshine has in spades. There are just so many different things to do in the game. When you enter a world looking for a shine, you never know what it's gonna have you do. Roll fruit around? Cool off flaming chomps? Clean a bunch of muddy gunk junk? Make Yoshi barf on the locals? That was one of the shines, right? Point is, you'll end up doing pretty much anything. Sometimes what the game wants you to do is extremely tedious and requires a million tries. Absolutely. But I still can't help but appreciate how constantly things change up. For whatever reason, I'm just not as satisfied with a game where all I've got to do is get from A to B. And that's what Mario is now. Accomplishing a myriad of tasks is just so much more stimulating. Now here's something people really love to disagree on. The story. Sunshine probably has the most storyish story of any 3D Mario. I mean, it's got voice acting. And weirdly enough, the story is another thing I like about the game. No, Mario doesn't need to have a deep story, and yes, Sunshine's voice acting is pretty terrible, but that's not the point. The point is that it adds, again, variety to the game and gives motivation to the player. I know that sounds silly. He's Mario, he doesn't need motivation. He jumps on the guys and everyone's happy. But I, as a player, crave a little story-driven motivation. I'm less satisfied with the Mario where you've just got to move forward because Bowser says so, that's why. Because I want to get to be in my own way, I want varied gameplay along the way, and I want a reason for going that's even 1% more than because Bowser grabbed Peach and is waiting in his fortress. Sunshine's story isn't much, but it's something, and that something is what I want. You've got to clean up the city and clear Mario's name, then, oh no, Grossy Mario's trying to take Peach and you gotta chase him. Now, oh my gosh, it was Bowser Jr. all along, now some other stuff is happening. It keeps things moving, it makes the game a smidge more interesting. I don't really need a reason to jump on guys and get the thing, but for whatever reason, that's just something I appreciate as a gamer. And that's how I feel about Super Mario Sunshine as a whole. It's made up of so many parts that don't fit into Mario's basic formula, but they just happen to be the things that I love having in my games. Other people think Galaxy and 3D World are masterpieces, but I get kinda bored with them. They're fun for a quick run-through, maybe for a 100% completion if the mood strikes me, but I don't find myself wanting to return to them very often. But Sunshine's hub world and its cornucopia of tasks to accomplish and its crazy fun movement system and its bright, colorful graphics and its actual story, to me it's just Mario Plus. It's the fun of stomping Bowser butt, but advanced in so many ways. Many say that the later games cut away what didn't need to be there and refined the Mario formula, and that's probably true. But to me, they also took several steps backward and just became a little less interesting. Still incredibly fun, don't get me wrong. But more than the Space Station Lumadoop or Starship Mario Face or Pipey McFairy World, I find myself wanting to return to Isle Delfino. Once or twice a year, I get the itch and I've just got to boot up the GameCube and do some squirting. So I hope this video helps some of you to better understand why weirdos like me enjoy Sunshine so much despite its admittedly large flaws. And if you're in the camp that likes a more simple and refined Mario, Nintendo's made it clear that they agree with you, and Mario won't be doing anything more than getting from A to B anytime soon, so give us this one small thing. Take your platformer Marios and leave us at peace with our poor adventure Marios. They died so young. Anyway, have a good one.